You could be larger than life.
Welcome to Live Life Driven. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate everybody once again. You know, I started this podcast a couple years ago. I never thought that, you just don't imagine that it's going to go on for as long as it does. And we're at about 200 episodes between this show and The Answer is Yes, as well as Baja Sessions. So I really do appreciate you. The title of this show, and it's not going to be super long, is going to be Lost in the City. And the reason why I'm calling that is going for my Spartan training run earlier this week, and I lapped the yard, and I was looking at how pretty everything was, and I started thinking about my social media and things that I post on social media, and I realized that I've been posting a lot of things about Montana and going to the rodeo and spending time with my kids and my ability to run in the yard and the mountains and, the deers and the horses and everything. I thought, well, where do people really care about all that stuff and what I'm posting? And am I doing it for them or am I doing it for myself? And I think the answer to that is, and this is going to be the point of the message today, the answer is I'm doing that for myself. And, well, I'm also doing it so my grandparents can see what's happening with me up here. But, for me, it's a reminder of why I moved to Montana and what's important to me. I've talked about having self-awareness on not only this show, but on my other shows, and understanding what's important to us and writing our goals around our own self-awareness. And by doing that, we can achieve satisfaction, because if we just write goals, I want to have more money or I want to have this or that, and it's not tied to who we are as individuals and our own awareness of what makes us happy, then they're just goals that might not have any meaning. And I think by me posting my photos of where I'm at and what I'm doing is a nice reminder to myself of why I'm here. But it also is a reflection of what I'm doing on a daily basis and why Montana is important to me. And as I think about COVID and people that are wrapped up into the media and what's on the media and what's being said on social media, of course, which is a major influence for so many, I think that you've gotten lost in your cities instead of getting lost in what's important to you. Because at the end of the day, people are inherently good and want to do good. And I tend to believe that people want to live simple lives, happy lives, put food on their table for their families, and grow and prosper in their own worlds. And it's easy to get lost in the social media, the mayhem, the news, fake news, whatever you want to call it, and lose sight of what's important to you and why we're all doing this. So I want to encourage you to start looking at what you're posting, what you're reading, and maybe focus on posting what's important to you as it relates to your own happiness and your own self-awareness. I'm not saying that the issues that are being brought up are not important, and I haven't said that at all in any of my shows, because I do think that they're important issues. But I think if we can focus on being better people and doing and posting what's important to us and what makes us happy, it's going to make this world a much better place. My pictures of Montana and the rodeos and my kids are much better to process than some of the ugliness that's being posted up out there about other people and the things that are being said. So I just feel like we can all get lost in our cities in the right way, for the right reasons, why we live there and what's important to us. I'm sure you've got great family outings or get-togethers or story time or something that you're proud of around your own house, whether that's your garden or you just painted the outdoors or something. But let's really get focused on lost in our own cities in the right way for the right reasons. For me, and I'm no longer going to be a part of that silent majority. For me, I do post a lot of things that means my pride in America. So last week I had posted a picture of a girl flying the flag high on her horse at the rodeo, and I always get a sense of pride when I see that happening, because to me that's what America stands for, is just family, friends, get-togethers, in this case, good competition at the rodeo and good people. They pray before the rodeo, which is an important part of my life. They say the Pledge of Allegiance, which reminds me that I'm part of one of the greatest countries in the world. And, they sing the national anthem. So again, I'm posting things that I feel are important to me and why I live in the city that I live in. And just a nice reminder of what America is to me. It's interesting. I almost tear up when I see the flag flying and hear the national anthem. And I know that's not going to resonate with a bunch of people right now and what they're saying and doing. But, I remember a time when I was a kid where you heard the national anthem all the time. You saw the flag all the time. You said the Pledge of Allegiance all the time. And you don't hear it so much anymore. And I think that that's what gets me emotional now. I realize that there's been a lot of sacrifice over the couple hundred years plus that America's been around. But it's that sacrifice and those reminders that make this one of the greatest democracies in the world. And without those sacrifices, we would never have what we have. And this is the greatest country. And I think we need to be reminded of that and not tear it down so much. People make mistakes, and mistakes can be corrected. And to me, that's what's important. And, a lot of our history, there was mistakes made. And these monuments represent that and show us that. Talking about defunding the police right now, what a terrible thought to defend the police. I mean, what happens if you need them? What happens if you place that call in the middle of the night because you've got an intruder or, even a fire department trying to get to a burning building in time, and the police are usually the ones that are making way through traffic to allow that to happen. I have a story about the police when I was 18, and this isn't a good story for me. This is a bad story, but that's the point. When I was 18, I was out playing paintballs with some friends. There was a group of us, and when we were done, we had our camouflage on and our paintball guns and everything. We were riding in the back of my pickup truck. I let somebody else drive, and there was 8 of us in the back of the truck and 2 people in the cab. And the commissioner for the local police department was behind us in a non-disclosed vehicle. He thought that we were a group of terrorists, and he called ahead to give us a roadblock. And a mile ahead of us, there was police cars everywhere. They had blocked the main highway and pulled us over at gunpoint. And we're talking about 17 and 18-year-old kids that were just playing paint guns. All of a sudden, we're at gunpoint, highway blocked down. They laid us all face down in the street until the commissioner realized he had made a mistake. He pulled over a bunch of kids that were paint gunning that he thought was some type of mafia or terrorist. And because he was embarrassed, they searched high and low to find something. And because it was my vehicle, they found a pair of Chinese nunchucks. I'd happened to be in karate lessons learning how to use nunchucks, and they were in my karate bag. And he charged me with a misdemeanor. And I had to go to court, and I had a misdemeanor on my record. And it just was a terrible experience. And it was something that I thought I was going to have to live with on my record my whole life. Now, that doesn't mean I hate the cops. It doesn't mean I would defund the police because they made a bad decision. I understand why the decision was made. I understand that he was human and he was embarrassed and they needed to find something on somebody, and I was their target. That was many, many years ago, and I've never held a grudge at all, not even at the time. I thought it was a joke, and I went through the process, and I had a parole agent and everything. I had the full deal. But the police are there for a reason. I've been held at gunpoint 2 different occasions in my life, being robbed when I worked for In-N-Out Burger. And on both times, the police saved my life, literally, because I was able to press the alarm buttons. So no, I don't want to defund the police. I want to support the police. I want to help build them up and make them better people. If you think about it, they have some of the lowest salaries out there. And as we defund them, those salaries are going to be even lower. How are we going to be able to get qualified people, well-educated people, to do that job? We should be doing the opposite. We should be pouring more resources into the police departments, giving them more tools to train with and get a higher caliber person in those departments where there's issues. So I just really am adamant about not defunding the police. They're there for all of us. I don't care who you are listening. Having our own perspective of things is what's important. So I gave you my perspective on the police, and I gave you a very true story that happened to me about the police. And, I have every reason not to like them, but I'm just not going to live in that reality because they've done so many great things for me. So as we continue on through our week, think about our city and why we live there and what makes us happy, and our pride in the city and our families and the things that we do. And maybe we can share more of that on social media instead of the negativity. And instead of tearing each other down on people's posts because they have an opinion, maybe support them or not say anything at all. Maybe that's your way of supporting is by not saying something. So with that, I want to leave the show on a final thought. I am reading right now Discipline Equals Freedom, The Field Manual by Jocko Willink. And if you haven't heard of Jocko, you got to check him out, especially on social media. He's very, very intense, special ops guy. So there's a chapter in his book, and they're all super short. I'm just going to read it because it is so short. It's called Laughter Wins, and it goes like this. Sure, there is darkness everywhere, and I've seen my share, but that is not where I live my life at all. In fact, the opposite is true. I'm not wandering around suffering in despair. No, I'm having fun. Yep, fun. I'm laughing, I'm joking, I'm clowning around, making fun of everything and everyone, especially of myself. I'm an easy target to poke fun at, and I'm good with that. Because, sure, life is tough, but it gets a lot easier when you're laughing at it. So, despite the suffering, in fact, to spite the suffering, to spite the hardships, to spite the challenges, laugh at them all. They can't stand it when you do, and they all get easier. Yes, laugh at them all. Laughter wins. That's exactly what I'm saying about getting lost in our city. Let's have some fun. Let's laugh. Let's be happy. Let's support. Let's build people up. And again, one way that you can support others is by allowing them to have their opinion and not say something terrible back to them because they have an opinion. That doesn't get us anywhere. So anyways, let's laugh more, have more fun. I look forward to seeing your social media posts and the fun that potentially you're having out there. So I encourage you. If you like the show, share it. If you have any comments, send me an email. You can find me at Jim Riley Racing on Instagram, and I answer all those messages that come my way. Thanks for listening in.
It's up to you. The door is open wide.